Hey everyone, Mitchell here. So just a little note, by the end of this podcast, we start talking about the future of this show and the future of Telltale style games as a whole. And the conclusion that Dustin and I came up with during the recording of this podcast is that we don't know anything that's on the horizon, and it seems like maybe nothing's on the horizon for a little bit, so we're canceling the podcast. We're ending it. I mean, not cancel. It's a planned ending of the podcast, at least until something big like Dispatch Season 2 or The Wolf Among Us 2 or a new Skunkape season of Sam & Max. Something in that sort of world happens, and we have no idea if and when any of that will, but if any of that comes out, we say at the end of this podcast that we'll be back for that, but we won't be back anytime before that. Well, in between the recording of the podcast and the editing and release of the podcast, Skunkape, just in order to mess our stuff up specifically, I assume, decides to announce that they are remastering Poker Night at the Inventory for modern consoles, and a big re-release of Poker Night at the Inventory. We could not have possibly guessed that. That was not near the top of our list of things we thought they were working on. But hey, just keep that in mind. We will be coming back next month to cover that game, to cover the new version of Poker Night at the Inventory. We won't be back before that, and that is the only other episode that we have planned for any time in the future. So just keep that in mind, because we say some we say some stuff at the end of this episode. We even bring up Skunkape and we start speculating on what they're doing. All of that is now antiquated discussion. I want to keep it in the episode just to have an accurate time capsule of what our feelings were. But yeah, so that's the future of this podcast. We'll see you next time. And until that, have a good one episode. I'm signing off like I'm signing off the end of a podcast. You haven't even heard this one yet. Listen to this one right now. Hello and welcome to Telling the Tale. It's the podcast where we go through every single Telltale adventure game. We actually finished doing that quite some time ago, but we are now back doing other things. We're now back doing other things for the last time, actually, because we are wrapping up our show once again. And to help me do it, as always, our wonderful also host, Dustin Cornelius Jackson. Hey, Dustin, how's it going?
Mitchell, this is the second lastest episode of Telling the Tale I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a Monkey Island joke you did just now, right?
Yeah. And it's also going to be the second time we end this podcast.
Oh, right. That's also true. It's just also a true thing.
Yeah, they're true facts.
Why did we play Escape from Monkey Island for the podcast?
It's just a fun little bonus thing since neither of us had played it before.
Yeah.
This one's not even Telltale.
It occurred to me, like, 80% of the way into Escape from Monkey Island, like, there was no reason... there was no reason we had to do this one for the podcast. Everything else had, like, I saw how it connected. This one, a little bit less so.
Yeah, but, we did it.
Yeah,
I'm glad we did it.
During the main run of the show, we, of course, covered all 5 episodes of Tales from Monkey Islands. And also, when Return to Monkey Island came out, we were running the show still. So we thought, oh, well, yeah, of course, if there's a sequel to Monkey Island, or a sequel to Tales of Monkey Island specifically, we should cover that too. And by that point, we had played 5 out of the 6 Monkey Island games. Both of us. We both had played 1, or Secret, 2, Curse, Tales, and Return. And we covered the Sea of Thieves crossover. So really, we did 6 out of the 7 games in the series. Surely, one day, we should just bite the bullet and play the 4th game in the series, our final game in the series, Escape from Monkey Island. Something that both of us have just passed over time and time again. And now we have finally done that.
Yeah, I'm glad to have finally played the only one I needed to play. People say this is the worst of the Monkey Islands, and they're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just jumping right into opinions, I do agree it is the worst in the series, but
Yes.
it's
Yeah. I agree
yeah, like
also.
uncontested. But it's not the worst thing I've ever played or anything. Like it's still Monkey Island enough. It's a bad example of it, but I think overall I thought this game was maybe on like the lower end of fine.
So we played different versions of this game,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched a little bit of footage of your version of the game to make sure that we didn't have like radically different content experiences,
Right.
and we didn't. It's pretty much the same game.
Yeah.
But you played it on the PlayStation 2, which is the only console it launched on. It was a contemporaneous launch with the PC version. I played it on the PC version, and this game came out in the year 2000. 2000.
You're asking me over here?
Wait,
I don't remember.
I thought I knew. Wait, 2000. The year 2000. Escape from Monkey Island.
Yeah, 2000.
2000, not 2001.
Yeah, Wiki says 2000.
2000. Okay. I don't know why, man. I got caught up.
Oh, you know why? The PC
Why?
version is 2000. PS2 2001.
Oh, okay. So it was not completely contemporaneous. I'm glad that we have that context.
Yeah, and
so
I
played
guess
the
that's
original
why
version of the game.
the PS2 version has some little fixes here and there.
Yeah, so this version of the game is available on Steam, and theoretically, it is a modern PC game because it's just playable on Windows. And Windows games, so long as you're also using Windows, which I am, should just be forward compatible. Windows upgrades really don't often break games. They can.
Right.
But like for weird little reasons, not in terms of actual compatibility. So I was kind of thinking like, hey, I've got a mouse and keyboard right here. This is a computer game. It's from a computer game series. Anytime I play a Monkey Island game or like any kind of LucasArts game in general on a console, I kind of have this feeling of like, well, I'm comfortable on the console, but I know that's not how this game was supposed to be played.
Right.
So I was excited to like be playing the PC version of this game, and lo and behold, I was unlucky, and you got the good one. I think you got the good version of this game for sure.
Well, slightly better, we'll say.
Well, yeah, I would love to join you in talking about what the game actually is, but I can't even because I got to tell you all about my PC troubles.
No, I'm happy to hear it.
So the first thing is that OpenGL is what the game wants to default to, even though it does not run through OpenGL normally. And I don't know why it is making this choice. Maybe that is something that I don't understand about computers back from the year 2000. But Direct 3D is still what works with Escape from Monkey Island. And if you put OpenGL, you'll think it's working. But anytime it's time for a cutscene, the screen will just freeze, and you'll hear all the audio of the cutscene. And you'll what I realized eventually is that I'm seeing behind the cutscene. Like the cutscene is a video file that plays in front of the normal gameplay.
Right.
And it was completely invisible for me, but not inaudible. So I needed to fix that. That was fixed by making the game render in 16-bit something, and also Direct 3D instead of OpenGL. The initial controls were completely impenetrable, and even though it says it doesn't, it isn't compatible with controller, you basically need to make a controller to make it make sense. You need to connect a controller. Right. You need to remap every button on the controller manually. And then it's still weird because, yeah, now you can finally see cutscenes. By the way, every single time that you boot up the game, you need to tell it to do Direct 3D again so you can see your cutscenes. Otherwise, it'll say, "Oh, you wanted the invisible cutscenes, right? I got you."
You wanted the ones you couldn't see and enjoy?
Even after all that, the game is still just so clunky because it's a PC game from the year 2000, and they assume you want tank controls. And I didn't even realize that there was a way to turn off tank controls.
Oh, there's the option to turn them off?
Yeah, I found out in Act 3 that there is an option to turn off tank controls. And I'm not, I want to say, I'm not someone who is just in theory against tank controls. I think for specific games, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And normally this would be the kind of game that I think it makes sense for, where there's fixed camera angles rather than a movable camera. And it just doesn't, though. The tank controls in this game feel bad, just for regular control reasons.
Right.
It's called, in the menu, it's called... where did I write it in my notes? It was called camera perspective controls, is what they call not tank controls. So if you press you press left on the analog stick, and that's left from the camera's perspective instead of from the character's perspective. And I guess tank control might not have been a phrase we were using at the time.
Right.
I'm not sure about that actually, but that might be why. Once I figured all that out, and I could move Guybrush Threepwood around just like a regular 3D character, and I could see the cinematics, and I could have it actually play at the right resolution for my screen, which was a whole different thing. Once all of that worked, then I could play a really middling game.
You really had to put some elbow grease into it.
I had to put some elbow grease into it until it was basically okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't need to do any of that. The PS2 was just like, here, go. You're good.
It's the advantage console always has over PC. Yeah.
Right.
It's just going to work. It's just going to be the way that the chef intended the food to be eaten.
Right. So, I've been playing on my Steam Deck for a while now, and I usually think it's kind of fun, like, if a game's not working, like, finding a solution, like, going in, tinkering with something, and making it work. I think that can be kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think for something like this, I would maybe not have the patience. I think I would just be frustrated.
Well, yeah, I think if there's a game that you're really excited about playing, then beating it into submission until it can play is something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, actually.
Yeah.
But
you feel rewarded for it. But if it's something like this where
doing
you
all
feel
the work
a little
just
more
so
obligated,
I could do a podcast game is like a
Yeah.
little... Yeah. This is the first Monkey Island I've ever thought of as a podcast game, though. And I think maybe that is why I would agree with you and say that it is the worst of the 6 main Monkey Island games. Every other... maybe not every other game in the series, but 1, 2, and 3 for sure are... They're pushing the boundary of what games are at the time. Like, those are cutting-edge games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I would use the term AAA, because it's still they were such small teams, even compared to anything else at the time.
Right.
But Secret of Monkey Island was like a genre-defining, hardware-pushing game. And as was Monkey Island 2. And definitely Curse of Monkey Island in 1995 was like full hand-drawn video the whole time. That's extreme. Escape from Monkey Island as an early 3D game in the year 2000, when 3D is really not that early still. It feels like the first Monkey Island game that is not pushing that hard. And
yeah. It just kind of feels like it is what it is. I know
the
that's
ambition is low. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, it works fine.
It does. Yeah, I like at the end of it, I heard all the jokes and I was like, yeah. And we saw an adventure with Guybrush Threepwood. I think it's the only Monkey Island game in the whole series that feels so much like a status quo game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, because when we left off with Curse, the game before this, Curse of Monkey Island has the engagement and marriage between Guybrush and Elaine. It's the big
Mm-hmm.
romance game. And at the end of it, they say they're going on a honeymoon, which we know now is to the Sea of Thieves, which is crazy. Um, and then they come back from the Sea of Thieves. And then they just are married, and LeChuck is dead at the beginning, and he's dead again at the end. And they're married at the beginning, and they're married at the end. And I guess who the governor of Melee Island is changes, but while this is not a series about like keeping up with the lore and the order of events so much, like that's never been that big of a point of it. Um, it feels the most like Guybrush is just an established character in this archipelago, and this is just one more of his minor, not game-changing adventures. So, like, even
Right.
just from a narrative perspective, it feels like they were purposefully trying to be a little less ambitious than previous games.
Yeah, I agree with that. That kind of has me thinking, like, is Tales is kind of similar, but it feels like
Sort
a
of.
grander scale.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the stuff that happens in Tales is just orders of magnitude more exciting.
Yeah. Even
Yeah,
even if you do end with like not a whole lot changed in this world, it's a very wild ride. It's awesome. I adore Tales so much.
just like to put it into context, each of those set piece moments in Tales, like the inside of the Leviathan and the court case and uh, anything having to do with that mermaid area, there's such cool little funny memorable moments. Every island that you go to in Escape, other than Melee Island, and even maybe including Melee Island, is just sort of another island with some stores in it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is a Monkey Island game that feels like it's going through the motions. It's like, okay, we got to do this, we got to go do
Yeah.
this, we got to have LeChuck, we got to have some crazy puzzles.
Is it the new Super Mario Brothers of Monkey Island?
Um, I don't know, because I think Escape still has like some fun new stuff. Like Monkey Combat sucks. We'll get to that, but
Yeah, we'll get to it.
It's like kind something new, I guess, in a way. I mean, it is just insult sword fighting again, but it's kind of on a different wavelength. But you have stuff like Planet Threepwood is something new we haven't seen before. Some things are doing some new things, but not like big new things.
Yeah. You know, I was apprehensive about starting this game because I like this franchise so much, and I was told by everyone it's the worst one, and that is true. But I think because of being told by that and seeing not in motion screenshots of what this art style looked like, I was under the impression erroneously that this is like some big betrayal of the way Monkey Island should look or feel or
Yeah.
what these settings look like, and it super isn't that.
No,
It looks exactly like a Monkey Island. It's actually, for how early 3D it is, a pretty impressive recreation of the art style of Curse.
Yeah, I think a lot of the character models look. I think they're a little wonky at first, but you get used to them. I don't think there's any that are like super bad, and I was expecting it to look like a really bad game. But I think for the most part, the character models are fine, and the backgrounds look great. I mean, they're just pre-rendered backgrounds, but like they look really good to me.
Yeah, like even the way Guybrush looks, which I think is a lightning rod for a lot of criticism of this game. Um, it's not the same way he looks in other games, sure, but I think it's a pretty valid way for him to look in if you're jumping from 2D to 3D and you have to kind of reinvent it.
I think red is not really Guybrush's color, but
Sure.
again, that's something I did get used to. It didn't. When I'm first starting the game, I'm like, ugh, I hate how Guybrush looks. But by the end, I thought it was like fine. It is still my least favorite way Guybrush has looked, but it's still
he also
Guybrush.
loses the red coat.
Yeah,
for like
yeah,
at least half the game.
yeah. I didn't know that going into it. I didn't know
same.
that. It's kind of a strange choice, but I guess I'm kind of glad they did it.
Yeah, does he even have it on the box art? I guess he does, but it's kind of obscured. No, he doesn't. He's got a white shirt on the box art.
He does on the box art for the PS2 version, I believe. The PS2 version has a different box art.
Interesting.
And then, yeah, the PC version just has the white shirt.
Oh, he does. The PS2 box art is bad.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed it. I think the box art for the PC one, like, it looked great. I think it looked perfectly fine.
Yeah, I can't imagine them being like, this is the first one that's going to come to consoles. And then getting excited about it and then putting out this, like, box art for store shelves. Like, I hope they bite. I don't know, man. This is a bad box art.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would be one thing if they were like, well, this is like a 2D illustration for like a 3D game. We're really trying to sell 3D games right now. But the artwork for PS2 is 2D anyway, and it's just worse. It's just less interesting.
That was Sony's thing. We saw that with CSI 3 Dimensions of Murder on this podcast, where Sony was stepping in to make sure that people really, really viewed the PS2 as a 3D console, because the PS1 was only really kind of halfway a 3D console.
Yeah.
So
I could buy it if that was the reason, but it apparently wasn't.
True. So it's hard to say that this game is fine and then talk about why, because it'll sound like it isn't. But
yeah, it does have a lot of problems.
Okay. Yeah, Yeah.
I had a good enough time.
Both of us really like a lot, and for me, 1 and 2 soar to a really high height, and I love what Return did. And your favorite is Tales, right?
Yeah, Tales and Return, I would say, are like my top 2.
Oh, I didn't know you liked Return that much. Or I guess I did once. I probably just forgot you said it. But
Return really did it. I feel like Return just has a... It took me a little bit. I think I put 2 above Return at first, but I think Return has a little more heart to it than 2 does. That makes me appreciate it more. Even though 2 is wonderful as well. Like, I think every other game that is not Escape, I just, like, love.
Yeah. You know, for how people talk about the art style of Escape from Monkey Island, they also talk about it for Return to Monkey Island. And I even might agree with it. For Return to Monkey Island. But that game, the puzzles and the writing are so much better that it's not even in the top 5 things I think about when it comes to Return to Monkey Island. Where with Escape, it's a thinner game. Did you notice playing through that, like, every screen of the game just has a lot less going on than normal? Mm-hmm. Maybe similar-ish to a Tales screen, but with Tales, because the whole game was divided into 5 episodes and they were all distinct from each other, I never really felt like that was so weird.
Yeah,
but
it made sense.
In this game, it does feel weird.
Yeah, these towns feel very devoid of life. There's characters here and there.
Devoid of life. A lot of that fun LucasArts or, like, Humongous Games really did this, speaking of Ron Gilbert, where you would just go to a new screen and you could click on anything and it would make some weird, like, kind of animation, you know?
Mitchell, you're a big fan of those Humongous Games, aren't you?
I grew up with them. They were a childhood thing, especially Pajama Sam. Yeah.
So I never grew up with them. I played my first one like a couple years ago. I played the first Freddy Fish game. And I liked it. I thought, like, for what it is, I thought it was very charming, enjoyable, you know, like, easy game for small children.
Yeah.
But I knew that's what it was going to be going into it. But I just played through that with my niece and nephew recently. Mm-hmm. It's the first game that I made my nephew play like the whole way. Like I wasn't gonna
Nice.
play it at all for him. And my niece, she's younger, so she just watched, but she still enjoyed it. But my nephew loved it. He had a great time with it, and it's the first game that he's ever beaten on his own.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
great game to do that with because
Yeah, exactly.
it
I thought that
is
would be the perfect one to do with him.
all those games are child oriented. They are games for kids in every sense of the word. But um, I heard an interview with Ron Gilbert talking about this as well. It was always a focus of Humongous to make these games for children and make them feel children friendly while never not being games anymore. Because they are full adventure games like LucasArts would have made. Just the puzzles are a lot more simple. And even as an adult, going back to early LucasArts adventure games compared to Humongous games, if you play them as an adult now, yeah, the writing in the LucasArts games is a lot more fulfilling. There's a lot more to it. It's a maybe just better piece of art in general, but because those LucasArts games try to have hard puzzles, but when those kinds of puzzles try to be hard, it usually just means my brain won't work the way your brain will, so I won't understand why to combine the big balloon with the ostrich. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why I click those two things together. It
And
seems
there's a lot
irrelevant.
of that in Escape.
Yeah, but like
More so than like
because-
others.
because the big real puzzle games tried to go weird with it with their puzzles and try to go hardcore, the Humongous children's games actually end up being more relevant to any modern gamer, I think. Not because they're easier, just because they're less bullshit.
Right.
And,
They just make sense.
Yeah. And it was in playing Escape from Monkey Island where I really wanted one of those. Both for what we were talking about earlier, where there's not a lot going on in every screen of this game, but also some of you probably have the smallest inventory out of any Monkey Island game. And even then, you'd think that would make it easier because you just combine the objects with each other until it works.
Right.
There's some of the most esoteric puzzles in this game out of any game in the series.
Agreed. Out of like point and click games in general, like, you know, there's probably ones worse than this that I haven't played, but I think this might be the worst one that I have in terms of like,
Yeah.
it's just so many puzzles. Like, I'll come clean. There were many puzzles where I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to look up how to do it. And not a small amount of times where I was like, well, how would I have landed on that?
So this game was in co-development with Grim Fandango, and Grim Fandango feels like an elevation of the earlier LucasArts games in a really cool way. The puzzles are more complex, and the scope of the world is even larger, but it never really gets so crazy that you can't figure it out over time.
Right.
And this game feels like everything that could go wrong with trying to bring that style of adventure game to the next tech generation kind of did go wrong. Yeah, so there was... It starts strong with the puzzles, where you need to... Like the first big one is on Melee Island. There's a guy using a catapult to throw boulders at the governor's mansion, and you live there now because you're married to Elaine, so you can't have that. So you distract him with pretzels because he says he was hungry, and you can find pretzels. That works.
Yeah, they give you a hint at what you're supposed to be looking for to solve this.
Yeah, and he says that if the alignment of the catapult gets messed up, he always has his practice cactus that he can throw a boulder at to align the machine again. So you mess it up, he has to throw a boulder at the cactus, and because you know he's going to do that when you mess it up, you can put like a rubber band around the cactus, and the boulder just returns back to the catapult. It's a order of events that you can see happen in your mind before you actually do it. It makes sense. The hints are not outright told to the player, but they are suggested very heavily. There's not a lot of other items that can mess it up on Melee Island. You can't pick up that much early in the game. It actually set like a really high bar for what I thought the puzzles were going to be.
It does a great job.
And then you go to the second island of the game immediately after that, Lucre Island, and everything falls apart so fast.
Yeah. It really is Lucre Island where I'm like, okay, well, how would I have ever in a million years guessed to do this? Like, not every puzzle there. Like, some of them are fine, but there were enough there for me to be like, this is not great, you guys.
So, audience, I probably normally wouldn't have done it, but because we were on a timetable with getting this podcast out, I looked up a walkthrough. I try to push off doing it until I really can't do it anymore. And in Escape from Monkey Island, that meant Act 1.
Yeah.
of the game.
Same.
Lucre
Same.
Island.
I didn't use a walkthrough like all the way through, but anytime there was just a puzzle where it's like, I have no idea what to do. And unfortunately, with this game, that is quite a few times.
Yeah, like there's this one puzzle where this guy in a store is going to give you something for free. He's already decided to do it. And what he gives you for free depends on him telling you a story and you kind of mad-libsing in the names of the characters in the story. And depending on which names you tell them, you get a weird, different prosthetic body part. And you want, even though you would have no idea that you do want this, you want the skin. You want prosthetic skin. And the only hint in the game as to what names you should tell him are that there's this one manhole on a different part of the island where if you open up the manhole lid, on the bottom of the lid, there's written like Larry loves Sasha or whatever. I forget what the names
Cindy.
are. But Cindy. And then that's crossed out, and then it says Fred loves Cindy.
Right.
So you need to say Fred and Larry and Cindy when you can. But why would that be connected? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think if you are thinking on the level of this game, like, if you have the experience with these games, you could kind of piece that together just because you're aware of the bullshit already. Like,
right,
it's like, okay,
maybe.
I read these names on the manhole cover, and these names are coming up now in this puzzle, but there's like still no connection to it.
And like Guybrush is always looking at something and saying like, yeah, that's dumb. Here's another thing I can say. And everything that he just says and is just like an incidental part of the world really is just an incidental part of the world. So when something like that turns out to be important, you're not primed for it, which I guess is kind of, that must be the point they're trying to get at you. Like, oh, you didn't think this would matter. But like, yeah, I didn't think it would matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It isn't connected to that guy in the store selling me prosthetics. So why should I think that it is?
Don't get me fucking started on like his sorting system you have to do to get like directions to Pegnose's house.
Man, that guy is such a weak part of the whole game.
The guy in the prosthetics store?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got so many little bullshit puzzles attached to him. None of which make sense. There's like 3 different puzzles that aren't connected to each other.
Yeah. And he can just give you body parts. Like, if you don't put in the right names, you can get different body parts that don't connect to anything. I was holding on for some of those body parts for the whole game that never come up. He can just give you red herring items. Yeah, I had a heart. I had a head. They're red herrings. It's like, okay, well, if he gave me this, then maybe it's important. Never important at all. It just gives you a wrong item.
Yeah, you know, like in Monkey Island 2 especially, you can tell that the developers were really having fun with their puzzle pieces, but it feels like there's enough adventure game know-how going into Monkey Island 2. Monkey Island 2 probably is my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
That yes, those puzzles can be crazy sometimes, but it feels like you can tap into a method to the madness.
Yeah.
And here, it's like the developers are also having fun, but their style of fun is like, what if we made 100 different body parts that the guy can give you for no reason?
Wouldn't
And
that
like,
just be too nutty?
I can't tap into that. That's hard for me to understand why you think that's fun.
Yeah, I think it is very mean to have a game give you an item and like it's a game full of these shitty puzzles already, and then it gives you an item and it's like, okay, well, if it gave me this must be something I have to use for something. No, it's just throwing you off track, and you just have to stumble on what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and by the way, what you do with that prosthetic skin when you get it is that it's told to you as you receive it that it's super elastic, which is not something skin normally is, so that's even weird. Like, you wouldn't expect it to be. So then once you have it, you can put it over the manhole and then use it like a trampoline.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's like the thing you're actually solving for is getting in the window of the building nearby because you're using it as a trampoline. So you need to think of it as in terms of what the puzzle is. The puzzle is, how do I get in the window? And the answer is, you tell the prosthetics guy some names you found on a manhole cover. And like, why did I do that to solve that puzzle? That always feels bad. Like when the thing that you're trying to accomplish does not have any logical connection to the actions you need to take in order to accomplish it. That's no longer a puzzle. That is something that happens.
Yeah. Like when they tell me I need to get up into the window, my first thought is not I need to get some skin to use as like a trampoline to bounce me in there. I think of like, oh, maybe I need like a ladder or something a little more common sense. Yeah. And like I would be fine with it if they like hinted at this as it's like, oh, this is like the bounciest skin. You could bounce right through a window with this skin. I mean, that's on the nose, but you get it.
Yeah, or someone needs to talk about the skin before you even get it too, in order to know that you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And that never
he
happens.
Has the bounciest skin in town.
Where'd you get that skin? Would you believe it's a prosthetic? Something.
Yeah, maybe if it was like, oh, he's selling like skin trampolines that you can use to bounce to high places. That would be like something, anything to hint at that is what the solution to this puzzle is.
Yeah, like maybe someone sells a newspaper, and in the newspaper it says, new high jump champion, what's your secret? Like, well, it turns out that trampolines made of skin are the best ones.
And you know what? If they did that, that would be funny. That would be weird. I could buy into that.
Yeah.
But it's they just expect you to lean into the logic in a way that you just can't.
Yeah, and there's another thing, too, of eventually, through a system of other weird, unfulfilling puzzles, you're given this letter that has a bunch of numbers and then a cardinal direction next to them, and you reckon that they're times. It's like 1210 south, 325 west, and there's 8 of them. And you're told at one point in the game that you need to find your way through this flooded swamp on a raft, and you might make the connection that those directions are directions through the swamp, and then those times are times that you need to go those directions, which is true. But then how do you know what time it is? And there is not just one clock in the game. There are many clocks in this game. And the one that you need to get is a chess timer, which traditionally aren't actually running clocks, they're stopwatches. So, like, it doesn't make sense that that's the one clock out of all the clocks in all the buildings that you can get and take with you. But it is.
But it is.
Yeah, and the way you find out how to get that clock off of the chess table is something that I cannot imagine you like, you might get it, but I don't know why you would get it if not for reading a walkthrough.
Yeah, I definitely used a walkthrough for that.
And it's frustrating though, because once you're in the swamp and you realize like, oh, it's a different time every time I go to a new room of this flooded swamp, there's a really fun paradox puzzle where you run into yourself from a different time, like a few minutes ahead of you. And that version of Guybrush gives you a bunch of stuff in like a specific order. He gives you a skeleton key and then a rope and then a thing and then this and that. And all of that stuff ends up being stuff that he just gave you, and now you need to give back to the old you once you experience this moment again. And if you give him the wrong stuff, it creates a paradox and you have to start over. And that's like a good puzzle. I love that puzzle.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that might be my favorite puzzle in the game. It's funny, it's creative, but there's a logic to it.
It's definitely my favorite puzzle in the game. Yeah, it's a good one.
Awesome. So did you? Something I didn't know you could do. My roommate Cameron came in and told me about this. Did you try to shoot the other Guybrush with the gun he gives you?
No.
Well, if you do, it just does the paradox reset thing, but it's a funny way to do it. You can kill your future self, and then Guybrush is just like, oh, I guess I probably shouldn't have done that. And then it resets you just like if you screw up the puzzle in any other way. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, he gives you a gun, a rope, a skeleton key. All of these things are like perfect adventure game items. They'd be so powerful. And then you have to give them all right back.
Yeah.
In order to not have a paradox happen. And you never get a rope, you never get a gun, you never get a skeleton key throughout the rest of the game. It's funny. It's like those are that's a real good joke and a really good puzzle.
And
in the middle of the swamp thing that is not good.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but this is not like a super funny Monkey Island. Like,
no.
Monkey Island is a very funny series, and this is definitely the weakest on humor. I said it to you the other day. It's not that it's like a totally unfunny game. There's some funny stuff in there, but just like on the whole, on the regular, it's just consistently less. It just feels like it's not really trying as hard to be super funny. I'll get like a chuckle here and there still, but not as much.
So the overall conceit of this game is that there's this Australian tycoon, Ozzy Mandrill, which is a fun character in and of himself.
Yeah, he's good enough.
He's buying up all the real estate of the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and he's sort of gentrifying all of the pirate out of it. So there's an island later in the game from what we were just talking about called Jambalaya Island. And on Jambalaya, it's talked about before you get there as being this seedy, scourge-ridden pirate island. And then you get there and it's all like Starbucks and tourist cafes and stuff like that. There's a microbrewery or a microgroggery. And
Planet Threepwood.
And like that's if each Monkey Island game has like a tone it's going for or a specific setting it's going for, Businessman is to this game what Demon was to Curse or Zombie was to 2 or the Afterlife was to Tales. It's corporate. Like that's the joke of it. And that is a joke in and of itself. But I feel like this game uses, hey, there's a Starbucks here, as the punchline. And
yeah, it doesn't take it far enough. It's like, there you go. That's it.
Yeah, and like, wouldn't it be funny if there was a Starbucks on this pirate island? Is funny for the fraction of a second when you see it first, and then you have to spend an hour in that Starbucks.
Yeah, it's like, well, I got the joke already. Were you going to give me some more jokes with this? No, not really.
Yeah. It doesn't have enough legs. It just doesn't have the legs to make it worthwhile, unfortunately.
That would be a great back-of-the-box quote from Mitchell Wolf. Not enough legs.
Doesn't have the legs.
Doesn't have the legs, says Mitchell Wolf of Telling the Tale.
Dustin says, not my favorite. Print that on the box.
I can't wait to play this one.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure where to go from here. We can talk about what happens through the rest of the game, I suppose. But
well, I have
got any
a
more
couple.
highlights?
I got a couple more like little issues.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
with the
More issues. Okay.
yeah, just a few more problems that I hated. So this game picks up after Guybrush and Elaine are married. This is the first post-marriage game, and I'm not feeling the love between these two characters. I think Tails does a wonderful job. Tails and Return, I think, both do a great job of selling you how in love these characters are. And Escape, I think, does a pretty bad job of it. Elaine feels like a typical sitcom wife character, where she's being very naggy to Guybrush, and Guybrush is like, it looks like I'm in the doghouse again, which, shitty, just lame jokes. But yeah, the other games do such a good job of, like, Guybrush and Elaine, they are, like, so into each other. They have, like, little fun pet names for each other that are gross, but you feel it between them. And this game, like, every time they talk, it's like, Elaine's still gonna say something to put down Guybrush. Guybrush is just gonna say, like, okay, I guess I'll go do that then. It's really disappointing.
And Guybrush has to be all the time just saying, like, hey, Elaine, I didn't remember what you told me. I just didn't. I wasn't good enough to remember it.
I'm so bad.
Elaine's relationship with Guybrush is, in this game, that she is in love with him, but she doesn't love that.
Yeah.
She's in love with him, but she would prefer to not be, because he's kind of stupid.
Yeah, he sucks, and she's like, honey, don't remember this, or remember, you only get so much allowance a month, and Guybrush is like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say it ever goes as far as that their relationship is actually not good or is in trouble. But
right. I'm just not feeling the warmth between them.
Yeah, there's very little warmth, and I think out of Tails and Return, that warmth is really there. In Curse, Curse, we talked about this before, and I kind of put down their relationship in Curse because this is the big pivot for their relationship, where Guybrush has never had to save Elaine before. She's not Princess Peach. He's not Mario. And then in Curse, he kind of is Mario, and it's the one game they do that. But I think that doing that once and not making it their thing, but it's like, yeah, sometimes you are a husband and you need to go help your wife. Doing it once is better than what this is in Monkey Island, where they just are sort of not nice. Like, the one thing I remember them being warm about is Elaine kind of laying out their battle plan of what they're going to do for the rest of the day in order to, save the day. And then Guybrush says, oh, and do you want a back and foot massage? And then there's like a pause, and Elaine goes, yeah, maybe that too. But no, figure your stuff out first. And, like, that was not that much of a joke. Like, a little, it was warm. It was like, oh yeah, they do like each other. They like spending time with each other.
Yeah, but even then, Elaine's not like, oh yeah, thanks, Guybrush. I appreciate that. I'm glad I married you. She's just like, yeah, I guess we could do that.
Yeah, like, it is what she wants, but also we're gonna. It's almost like they're in the workplace, and they need to be like, yes, we are in love, and we are not ashamed of that, so we're not going to not tell people that, but we need to not have PDA right now.
We need to be professional.
Yeah. You see, Steven is over there, and he can't see us saying I love you.
Mr. Cheese has been eyeing us from across the scum bar.
I like the character Mr. Cheese, by the way.
I do like Mr. Cheese.
Game. Dustin didn't just say that.
Yeah, I didn't just make up. I would feel bad if I just came up with Mr. Cheese. There's this character, and he's named Mr. Cheese, and he's real wacky.
Yeah. No, Dustin, I wish I I wish you could feel good coming up with a character like Mr. Cheese. He's great.
Yeah, no, in the context of this game, I like Mr. Cheese, but that's like that's like the most, that's so random sort of name you could pull out of a hat to be like, aren't I just the wacky guy? I'm kind of the wacky, funny guy.
Yeah, and like more just Act 1 stuff. Or no, I guess we're going into Act 2 here. Ozzy starts his gentrification of the Caribbean, starts infecting Melee Island as well, and the Scum Bar turns into the Lua Bar, which is a programming joke. And because the first 3 games were made in Scum, the LucasArts adventure game creator language / engine thing, and then the 4th game was made in Lua. Escape and Grim Fandango were not made in Scum. Even though I don't really think of Lua as an alternative to Scum, they kind of do different things entirely, but that's neither here nor there.
I guess that's why those games don't run perfectly in Scum. I think I was looking at a Scum compatibility list, and it said Escape has issues and does not run well, and Grim Fandango runs okay.
Well,
I was wondering
you're
why those
specifically
two.
talking about Scum VM.
Yeah, Scum VM,
which is
that
Scum
like a
VM is a player
Yeah.
that plays games that were written in Scum.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, like, the first 3 games were made with the thing Scum, and then we use Scum VM in the future to play that game. Lua is not a player of a game. It is another... It's a language that you
Right.
script in.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly code, but it's neither here nor there. But it turns into a luau bar. It's like a Hawaiian themed bar, and it's all just sort of chintzy kind of touristy stuff.
Yeah, it's another thing where it's like, okay, I get the joke you're going for, but that it's really, they don't take it to like any like super funny places.
Yeah, and also like isn't like the fantasy, isn't the sale of the game all about the fact that you want to be in a seedy pirate place? So like, yeah, it's a joke that we take it away, but then you really did take that setting away, and now we can't have that fun.
Right, but I guess that does feed into like the peril of the story.
Yeah.
But then you don't get the
It
Scum
never
Bar.
pays out because
Yeah.
you save the day and then credits roll, so like you don't
Yeah.
get to have the pirate adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eventually you end up back on Monkey Island because LeChuck, who is around, and we haven't talked about him yet, he's come back as a character named Charles L. Charles. He's in disguise, except he is very obvious that he's LeChuck.
Yeah.
And he's working for Ozzy Mandrill, who I guess saved him between games 3 and 4. And LeChuck wins the governorship of Melee Island and then makes everything bad again. And he's helping Ozzy rid the Caribbean of pirates entirely. And Ozzy and LeChuck maroon Guybrush on Monkey Island. And this is the Act 3 of the game, is escaping from Monkey Island, as is the name of the game.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, because he has to do it. He has to do it in almost all of these, but this is the one that's called that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I guess that's what it's going for.
One
LeChuck
thing I
sure has
really-
done a disservice in this game.
Yeah, LeChuck.
LeChuck is like one of my favorite video game villains. I love LeChuck so much. And this one just gives him nothing. Like, I hate how he's just like constantly flipping between ghost, zombie, and demon. Like, what's the point? It really is just strikes me as like, remember these? And this game has like a lot of nostalgia bait stuff in it. Just a lot of, remember when we did this before? Now it's back. Do you like it?
Yeah, and it's interesting that, like, okay, the game clearly knows it's a fun thing that LeChuck was a ghost and then a zombie and then a demon. So don't you understand that you as the fourth one need to be a fourth different one?
Yeah,
Or
not just cycle through what we've already seen before for no reason. If there was like a reason for it, if there was like context to like, okay, something is fucking with LeChuck, so he keeps swapping between his different forms. That I could buy. I wouldn't love it, but I could buy it. Here, it's just happening for no reason other than remember.
yeah, he's always doing it for Elaine to watch because
Pretty cool.
he
huh?
like stops doing it when anyone else sees, and
Yeah.
he's just messing with her. He's just really trying to like make her seem completely insane to everyone else, which is, I think, a little funny. But
They look bad too. Like the zombie LeChuck, it doesn't even look like how he looked as zombie. It looks awful.
yeah, yeah, the ghost LeChuck, I guess, works, and then the other two just don't seem right. I guess Charles L. Charles is this game's new LeChuck. That's a fourth different guy technically, but
But
it doesn't it doesn't
yeah.
work in that same way.
Yeah, it's just like a temporary disguise, which is fine, but it's not like cool. It's not like an exciting new form for this cool villain I love.
Yeah, and we see I didn't realize when we first played through it, but in Tales from Monkey Island, LeChuck has a repeat of this episode where he turns into a regular real guy for a second,
But
and he acts all nice, and we know he's evil, but he's convincing everyone else that he's a good guy.
right, but it works a lot better because you're seeing how LeChuck
Yeah.
like actually looks as a human. I think that's a lot cooler than just, oh, he's just some guy. He's just, who cares?
Well, in Tales, he even convinces Elaine, and Elaine's like, it's dicey, but I want to believe in the best in people, and if someone's really trying to start over, I think I have to kind of honor it. But you don't have that at all in this game. In this game, it's just like, he is a bad guy, and he's trying to do a little
Yeah.
trick, and it's
God.
not a fun trick. Yeah.
It's wild how much better they do like everything in Tales from this game. I'm just thinking about like the stuff they do with Guybrush and Elaine and LeChuck. I mean, I think Tales is like the three main characters at their very best. But just going back to what they do with all of them in Escape, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't have the context to appreciate this at the time, but looking back, I now understand that Tales was maybe supposed to be a mea culpa of a lot of the ideas in Escape. It's not canonically a reboot of anything. It's definitely set after Escape.
Right.
But now I know, like, oh, you were trying to do the human LeChuck thing and him pretending he's good. And the prosthetic hands are a big thing that comes back as well. And also just making each scene in the three-dimensional world of Monkey Island feel a lot more interesting is something that Escape couldn't do but tried first, and then Tales is the second attempt at it. Also, by the way, so this game is credited with being directed by Sean Clark and Michael Stemmel. And Michael Stemmel is totally a Telltale guy. I think he was among the leads of the Tales from Monkey Island people. So this really is like his first crack at leading, or I don't want to say that because he might have been in charge on Curse. I don't remember, but like
Yeah,
he
I
did
couldn't
this.
remember either.
He did this attempt at trying to get Monkey Island into 3D, and then he tried again with Telltale, and it worked. And that is a nice. It is nice to play through this game and then have these problems, and then keep remembering, like, I know exactly what happened after this for this franchise, and it worked out for them.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Tales is not like one of the most popular games in the series. I know it.
I think it's up there these days.
Maybe these days. I just remember seeing a lot of people kind of feel similarly about Tales as they did with Escape.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't get it myself, but I remember seeing people saying they did not like Tales. But just wild thinking about how much better like everything is. I can't think of a single thing Escape does better. I mean, I was going to say does better than Tales, but I don't think it does anything better than any of the other Monkey Islands.
There's an interesting connection between Escape and Monkey Island, and Tales, I meant to say. Do you remember what the middle episode of Tales from Monkey Island is?
That's Lair of the Leviathan?
Yeah, so they're entering the large manatee. Act 2 of 3 of this game, of Escape, is called Enter the Manatee.
Wow. I didn't notice that. That's a little wild. That's a little silly.
It's a little connection. It's a little connection. So there's a lot of, even though there's nothing in that act about entering a manatee at all, it's called that specifically because there is a like mechanical bull, except it's a manatee in a bar, and you ride it for one puzzle, and that's why it's called that.
And it's like
is called that.
It's an optional puzzle too, because so you do it so you can get a ticket for the Mega Monkey Meal, I think it's called, at Planet Threepwood, because you need the monkey mug. But you can get the same thing by talking to Stan and doing his puzzle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so in a way, I guess that, I mean, I hope I'm not wrong about that. I just remember I did both, and it gave me a ticket each time. And I just remember being like, so you can just do either of it's like optional which one you do. And I guess so. Because, yeah, they just give you the same coupon for the Mega Monkey Meal.
Interesting.
In a way, I kind of like that. I like a puzzle having multiple solutions, but that does just kind of make a whole puzzle obsolete. Like, you don't need to do it at all.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Stan, once I realized that Stan was in this game, which you realize a few screens before actually seeing him, the biggest question in my head was, will his shirt work? Because that's always the biggest thing with Stan.
Yeah.
If you get the texture on his shirt to not behave with the laws of reality and instead just the laws of your computer screen, that's a real Stan. And it turns out they did nail it. So we can't say it's an awful game.
Yeah.
Just that it's the weakest game because Stan's shirt works.
Yeah, and I can't think of any time they didn't get the shirt working. Now that I think about it, I think it works in everything.
Yeah.
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 But people have gone on record saying how difficult it is to do, so good on them.
Yeah, because in the first Monkey Island, or the first couple Monkey Islands, it was just sort of it was not hard with just how that early version of Scum and how early computers worked, where you could just address the pixels of the screen directly. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then, especially when you get into 3D, and now you're talking about new 3D technologies, it is suddenly very weird and strange to actually make that work, but they make it work every time.
Yeah, I think they just know how important it is to the character.
So it's this Act 3 when they go to Monkey Island where things start happening that I find a little bit more interesting. Herman is a character who's been a hermit on Monkey Island since Game 1. And they've been talking about this character H.T. Marley the whole game, who is Elaine's grandfather, and he was a governor of Melee Island once. He was a great pirate. I keep saying that. And he left Elaine a lot of clues to locate the ultimate insult, which is the big MacGuffin of this game.
Right.
And it turns out that Herman lost his memory of who he was before, and who he was before was H.T. Marley, Elaine's grandfather, which makes you his grandson-in-law, which is a fun little thing. I really liked how as soon as Guybrush realized that now he should be thinking of this man as his grandfather, he gives him a big old hug right away. Like he loved realizing, oh, we're family. I thought that was a very cute Guybrush moment in a game that didn't have a lot of those.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how I feel about Herman Toothrot being Elaine's grandfather. I guess it doesn't hurt anything, but it also feels maybe a little too convenient.
Well, Monkey Island is not just some random island to be marooned on as well, though. Like, Monkey Island is something that has a deep spiritual connection to Melee Island and the islands around them. So I don't think it's completely random, but I see what you mean. It is kind of convenient.
Yeah, I don't love it, but I guess it's fine. I do like that moment you said, though.
Yeah. I don't remember. I should have remembered this because I think they talk about it in Return, right?
I don't think they do. I think it's one of the things they just don't mention at all.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm not
Are you
100.
sure it never comes up?
It's been a while, so I don't want to say I'm 100% sure, but I don't remember it being mentioned like at all. In fact, I remember Elaine bringing up Herman, like talking about Herman, and even then not mentioning it.
Yeah, because at the end of this game, the biggest change to the status quo is that Herman becomes the governor of Melee Island, in order to let Elaine and Guybrush go and be pirates and explore.
Mm-hmm. Which I like. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I don't.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't remember that Elaine was never the governor after that point.
Yeah, it just never comes up.
Does she become it again for Return, or is she just
No,
never
it's
the governor
Carla.
again?
It's Carla in Return.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I like that too. I like giving Carla more of a. Carla's in this game too, and I feel like it was kind of just a throwaway. It's another thing where it's just remember these characters, now they're back.
Yeah. And Tales from Monkey Island doesn't do much at all with Melee Island or Monkey Island. So
Yeah.
it kind of the character of Herman, both sides of Herman don't really matter as much in that game. So yeah, they kind of just get around it.
Wasn't Herman in Return? He was like in the dark, scary cave or something.
He was totally in it, and they talk. That's what I was saying. Like, I think they mention. It turns out you're my grandpa or something, but I didn't remember that when I was playing this game, so I was surprised again. But I do think it. I do think they say something about it in Return.
Okay, I don't remember them ever. I remember like coming out of Return thinking that was one of the things they just maybe not retcon, but just didn't touch or mention at all. But it's been a while, so maybe I just forgot.
Isn't it funny that for the longest time, the story about Curse and Escape were that they were these non-canonical Monkey Island games, and maybe Tales is canonical, but it's better off that you just think of 1 and 2 as the canon of the game. But now Tales is fully accepted within the canon because Ron Gilbert likes it because he worked on it. And Return to Monkey Island said, yeah, sure, Curse and Escape also both happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
no problem.
I love that. I was talking to my roommates the other day. I feel like if they went with the original plan, like for years, Ron Gilbert was saying, like, if I come back to Monkey Island, it'll be after 2, nothing else counts as canon. I think if they did that for Return, I significantly less interested I would have been. I think embracing everything up to that point makes me like Return a lot more.
Even if it's hypothetical where they start with 1 and 2, but then it branches off into 2 timelines, you can choose to pick your favorite of them. I think I would have preferred the 1-2 Return timeline over the 1-2 Curse Escape Tales, but I still what they ended up doing is the best of all worlds, where they don't make you know what happened in Escape because it is not to their interest that they make their audience play Escape. And they just sort of rely on the secret of Monkey Island 1 being the big canonical thing that you need to know, and everything else is explained very quickly and efficiently and with very little confusion. It's just it works out. It is now a 6-game canon that has a very strong beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, I think that's great. Like, I don't need every character from all of these games to come back. I don't need Return to say, like, okay, well, we have to continue off of everything Tails set up, and we need to have, like, Ozymandias in there. No, but I like that games like Tales and Escape and Curse still get to be part of the overall story.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, there was nothing like, the comparison that we make sometimes to the Banjo series with Nuts and Bolts being a very difficult member of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
Not difficult in terms of like gameplay difficulty, but it's just hard sometimes to think about that series of video games and think about that one game in it that kind of it undoes a lot of stuff, and it turns the setting of the world into a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey Island does kind of have that a little bit, and then by the end of the series it makes all the right decisions to not only come back from stuff like the weird bits in Curse and Escape, but also bulk up what is Curse and Escape were doing to the point where I now like them more than I probably would have without Return.
I think so too.
It washes it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I think I played Curse right when Return came out. I don't remember if I played Curse before or after.
That was your
Return.
first time?
That was my first time. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
we didn't do an episode on Curse, did we? We just played it before Return was coming out separate, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we did an episode on it. I played 1 and 2 when they were remade for in the late 2000s to coincide with Tales, and I played Tales as it was coming out, and I had played those 3, 1, 2, and Tales, and then I didn't touch it for the longest time. And then when we were doing this podcast, and I remembered we were going back to Monkey Island, I already kind of wanted to play Curse and Escape, just because I'd been putting them off. And then when Return came out, I was like, okay, well, let's play Curse. And I started with that, and I meant to pivot right into doing Escape, but I just never did. And Curse, I ended up really liking because there's nothing quite like the way it looks.
Yeah.
It is a very singular game in terms of its art style. Just because of the technology at the time, it was never repeated again. And it was really fun to experience on my own. But I think of the games I had played at that time, and then including Return, Curse was still my least favorite just because the writing and the puzzles weren't there compared to the other ones. And Escape is that, but without that really cool, unique art style. So I guess it's even worse.
Right.
But that's... Yeah, I think that's like the coldest Monkey Island take in the world. I think that's what all of the fans think at this point as well. And I'm not going to make waves by saying it, but those two are probably the worst ones, and this is the worst one. But I don't know. Did it scratch like a Monkey Island itch for you? This game?
What, this Escape?
Yeah.
I don't know, not especially. I mean, like I said, it just doesn't really succeed at anything it sets out to do very well. I've played all of the other Monkey Island games before this, so yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, but I guess it helps I knew what I was getting into beforehand. Like, there's no secret that people think this is the worst one. It's not like going into Curse where opinions on Curse of Monkey Island kind of vary a little bit, or a little bit more than this anyway. So you don't really know what you're going to get. I think we knew what we were going to get out of Escape, and we got it.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of the Zelda series, and 2 years ago when Echoes of Wisdom came out, that's the one with the top-down perspective, and it's all toyetic, and you play as Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool things in that game, and a lot of cool Zelda stuff in that game. But as a fan of like the big Zelda games, it didn't feel like that. It felt like I was doing a thing that was for fans of Zelda
Right.
and is like a cool separate thing if you're already a fan of Zelda, where the big Zelda games are going to feel like the big things that really scratch that itch. I think I felt the same way about this Monkey Island game, where Curse
Okay.
kind of did scratch the itch, and I guess that's the differentiation between these two in the middle ones.
Yeah. Um I think the way I rank the Monkey Island games is a little bit more of a hot take than yours. Do you want to know how I rank them?
Yeah, how do you do your 6?
So, Tails at the top, then Return, then 2, then Curse, then 1, then 4.
Oh, that's too low for 1.
I like 1 a lot. I do like 1 a lot. There's nothing, I don't have any problems with 1. I just think I get a little more out of the other ones. But it's also been a little bit since I played 1. Like, it's been longer. I think it's been a longer time replaying that than it has been any of the other Monkey Island games. So maybe that'll change if I replay it again.
Right now, for me, I have Escape at the bottom, and then bottom to top, Curse, and then Tails at like spot 4. And then 2 and 3 in some order are 1 in Return, and I don't really know. I think as time goes on, it might lean more toward 1 again, but for the years after getting Return, I just really like what Return did.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, I still think 2 is the best.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, like I said, I think no matter what order you put them in, other than Escape, you can't really go wrong with any of them. I like all of the other ones a lot. I could see anyone with them in any order.
Yeah, and with Curse, like, if you're into that animation and you just want to see the Monkey Island aesthetic at maybe its most distilled, I think that is that game, Curse.
Mm-hmm.
The writing and the puzzles of Curse tanking a little bit for that entry make me I mean that's what I'm coming to the series more for, so that affects it more. But
yeah,
yeah,
I get that. Personally, I didn't feel that as much for Curse. Like I still thought the writing was pretty good, and I thought the puzzles were pretty good. But it's still, it's in the second half of the Monkey Island games for me still. But I know at least like a couple people who say Curse is their favorite one, and I totally get it. I think that art style is enough that it could propel it to someone's top spot. But even besides that, maybe someone else does like it's not like the writing's bad or anything. I could see maybe the writing hitting a little more as well for someone different.
Yeah, so I looked up there's a Monkey Island subreddit, and I looked up what any of those people were saying about Escape before this episode. And a lot of them were coming from the perspective of being probably about as old as me. And the PlayStation 2 was their childhood or late childhood console. And they had Escape from Monkey Island on it, and maybe they had the PS1, but there were no Monkey Island games for PS1. So this is just their childhood Monkey Island game, and they had to go back for all the other ones.
Right.
And they were saying, like, this is my favorite one. It gets overhated, and I don't understand why. And you do understand why, though, right? Like,
like you get it.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. Like, you're allowed to have comfort favorites. No one is upset at you.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand why, all right?
You get it.
Yeah, other Monkey Island game is your favorite, I could see a reason why you say that.
Yeah, for sure. But Escape, I think I don't think there's anything about it that, like, I would say is better than any other Monkey Island games. The puzzles are worse. It looks worse. It doesn't look like the worst thing on the planet, but it does look worse than the other games. Worse puzzles, worse humor.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like just a complete. People from other franchises decided to work on a Monkey Island game and they got it wrong. It's not that at all. If you play it, it feels exactly like a Monkey Island game, just not firing on nearly as many cylinders.
Yeah.
And it only starts to get like really dour once you isolate all the different parts of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, well, how are the aesthetics? Are they not the worst in the series? And then you're like, oh no, they might be. They might be technically the worst.
But
in the
even
series.
then, they don't. It's not like an awful looking game. I think it still
Yeah.
looks pretty good on its own.
Or like, are the puzzles not the worst in the series? Like, no, they're probably the worst. And the writing is also probably the worst, and the music is not coming in nearly as strong as all of the other entries in the series.
But it still has some pretty good music in there. I think even before we played it, I have some of the soundtrack on my phone that I really like.
There were some good remixes of older Monkey Island songs, especially in that micro groggery. They were playing
LeChuck's theme.
It was LeChuck's theme, but it was like a fun, different, almost techno-y kind of remix of it.
Yeah.
And that was a great song. I don't know if I think that the soundtrack really keeps up to that standard, but
it's not like
is
offensively bad. It does the job fine enough.
No, but if you go on either side of this game to Curse or Tails before or after it, I think the music is a lot better in either of those games.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And like just the setting, there's so many fun islands and like remember that one island in Curse where it was sort of a coastline that was on a cliff and it was curving around to the right, and because of the way the camera was set up, I mean it's not a real camera because it's a hand-drawn background, but you just see the whole island at once, and you see the art style of like buildings popping out of the cliff top. That's such a cool even for like just another pirate town island, of which there are many in this franchise.
It's memorable. I remember that island.
It's a great island. Yeah, like just in the conceit of it, the setting that you go to, the puzzles, the gameplay. Definitely for me, the controls, but doesn't sound like you had as much of a problem with that.
No.
Every individual thing about this game might be my least favorite in the series, which makes it not good.
Yeah.
I guess that has to make it not good. But I wasn't mad at it for existing in the way that I think some people get uppity about it. And maybe that is because Return already came out.
Yeah, maybe you just know, like, it's not leaving you wanting more in the same way as, like, maybe at the time. Like, if Escape came out and that was just the last game in the series, it's like, oh, okay, well, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I
but
think
you
that
know
if we
it gets a
recorded this
lot
4
better.
years ago, it would be a completely different conversation. Because without Return, even if we like Tales, it looks like this franchise that was supposed to have a third major installment from Ron Gilbert, but couldn't have that game. And even though Ron Gilbert wanted to make that game, he couldn't. And then just went in a completely different direction and maybe lost what the intended tone was supposed to be. But now with Returns, I think we can look at Tales, and even me as someone who still doesn't really love Curse, I can look at Curse and think like, oh, but there were things that they were really going for in 3 and 5 at the very least that we should not just put down to them not understanding the tone of what Monkey Island was originally supposed to be. It was an evolving thing that just happened to evolve through different creators. And then also, we can say, hey, at the end of the day, we did get that third Ron Gilbert Monkey Island. So no harm,
It doesn't feel like
no
anything's
foul.
missing.
Escape is just sort of a lame one in the middle. It didn't take the franchise down in the same way that maybe 4 years ago we might have attributed to taking the franchise down.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. It's still lame though. Monkey Combat? Like fucking Monkey Combat, man.
Monkey Combat sucks, and people always said Monkey Combat sucks, and it does. I
Okay.
rated this game on backlog. I gave it 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like I would have been generous and given it 3 out of 5 had it not been for Monkey Combat. I think
So
after Monkey Combat, I was being a little less nice.
can I tell you what is probably going to be a really hot take, a really
Yeah,
harsh hot take?
yeah.
I liked it.
You liked Monkey Combat?
I liked Monkey Combat.
Okay.
It's
okay.
not. It shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. I know it shouldn't be there. I know that this game should not have done what it did, but I liked it.
What it comes down to for me is it's just insult sword fighting, which already isn't like my favorite part of Monkey Island 1, but less intuitive, more stuff you have to keep track of. I had to have like separate notes written down. Like at least with insult sword fighting, like it gives you the insults and then you can just pick an insult and you're like, okay, I know that one works. Here it's like,
Right.
okay, I need to write down what combination of monkey sounds works to switch from this stance to this. And I have to write down what is good against what. I have to
Yes.
know what changes to what other specific one. It's too much. It's too much to keep track of.
Yeah. So just to break it all down, you're doing insult sword fighting with monkeys, but they don't speak English, so they just do like a little martial arts stance, of which there are 5, and they all have names, but I very quickly abbreviated them to A, B, C, D, and G,
Right.
because I had to write them down. And it's rock, paper, scissors, where each stance is weak to 2 other ones and good against 2 other ones,
Yeah.
and is going to be a tie against itself, obviously. And you and the monkey both start in one stance, and then you have the option to change from that stance you're in into a different stance. And every change of stances has its own code of monkey sounds that you need to remember and write down. And it's not just, I want to go into stance C, so what's the C code? You need to keep in mind what stance you're currently in order to go into C. So going from A to C has a different stance code than going from G to C or B to C. All of those have different stance codes that you need to write down. And it could be like ah, oo, chi, or ah, eek, ak, or, it's like that. And
Right.
this would be something that would be very easy to just make a walkthrough for, if not for the fact that every time you restart the game, you need to find out in your playthrough which stances affect which other stances, because those are randomized, and what the codes for each of those stance transitions is, because those are also randomized every time you play.
I could feel myself getting upset as you explained it.
I love figuring out puzzles like this. This is a very specific dopamine part of my brain that I understand is not for everyone. But
So I was
yeah.
with you at first. When I first started doing this, I was kind of getting it. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. I'll like know how to do this. By the end, I was like, this is too much shit. I can't even remember all of this. I have to write all this down and then constantly look down at the notes. There's no way I'm going to remember any of this shit ever.
Yeah, so I would post my notes that I have for this section, except for the fact that I spilled a little Coke Zero on my notes, and it looks gross now, and I don't want to share that with the world.
Ooh.
But yeah, so the best way to do it, and I think I was lucky that I clued into the best note-taking format early, because if I was taking notes early and then I realized my format for like what I'm writing down was bad and I had to redo it, I would have gotten pissed off.
Right.
But the way you do it is you watch the monkeys do it, and it's monkey see, monkey do. So if the monkey across from you is in stance D, and then they say oo, ah, eek, and then they go to stance A, you need to write that down. D, A, O, A, E, because then you would like shorten oo, ak, eek to O, A, E.
Right.
And what's nice about it is that if D to A is that code, A to D is also the same code.
Yeah.
So any pairs in a transition, you can reverse it with the same code and it'll still work. So that's like on one column. And then you need to make another set of columns that have 5 rows, one for A, B, C, D, and G, the stances, and write down which other stances beat those stances when like the monkey uses them against you. Because if you're in C and the monkey turns into stance B and they get a super effective hit on you, you're like, okay, well, B beats C. I know that now. For me, A beat C and D, B beat A and D, C beat B and G, D beat C and G, and G beat A and B. But I'm sure that was not the case for you. And
Yeah.
the act of figuring that out for me was just kind of fun. I liked filling out the chart, and when the monkey was in stance B and I was in A, and I knew that if we kept there, I was going to lose. But if I could just transfer from B to G, and I realized, oh, I have the code for that because I wrote it down, and it works, that I love that shit. But again, you shouldn't necessarily. And I understand that it is a bad and unfun thing for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from as well. I can see how it would hit that sweet spot in your brain.
Yeah, it was fun for me. Just
you know
for me.
what? You know what is the part that really made me hate it though? Like on top of just having like all this shit you need to keep track of, which I already didn't like, but so you're learning the monkey combat moves because you have to fight Jojo Jr., who's Prince of the Monkeys, which I also... So I don't know if I'm out of line here, but I feel like talking monkeys, just talking normally to you, having conversations with you, to me personally feels like maybe a step past what I'm willing to accept from Monkey Island.
Oh, I can't... Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, that just felt like I know it's like not a big deal, but maybe just a little too, just having like cute talking animals talking to you. Monkey, like we haven't had talking animals up to this point in Monkey Island, or at least not talking monkeys. But now you just have one who's like, "Hello, Guybrush.
Well,
fancy meeting you here."
I guess I get what you're saying, but if you ask him about it, he says how it happened, and he's got like a magical reason for it in a way.
No, there's a reason for it, but to me, it feels like just a half step over the silly line.
Okay, I mean, you do pilot a mech later,
right? No, I also did not love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I also feel like that's along the same lines of being maybe. It's not like the biggest deal. I wasn't like super upset. But it feels like maybe a half step too far from what I
You ride a roller coaster
from...
in Curse.
That feels fine to me.
Okay, I don't understand. I guess I don't understand your perspective here.
Yeah, no, it is just like a personal perspective where a roller coaster is fine, but monkeys just speaking full English to you, they can just talk normally, and having a giant monkey robot that was just underneath Monkey Island this whole time, that to me feels like a little too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been if he didn't have a reason, but I don't know. I guess I appreciate your perspective, Dustin.
Yeah, and like I said,
thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think it's like awful. I don't think it's like the worst. It's not even like my biggest issue with the game, but it does just have me a little like, I don't know if I buy into just monkeys who can just speak full English.
At the very end of this game, Jojo Jr. says goodbye and walks away. And Guybrush says, "Goodbye, Jojo. We'll never forget you." And I wrote in my notes, they did.
He never is relevant again.
He never showed back up again.
Yeah, and you go back to Monkey Island. You could have fit Jojo Jr. in there. But no.
But they forgot him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Guybrush lied pretty hard about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I also feel like the ending to this game is just a really flaccid Monkey Island ending. Like the whole
Yep.
like it's Act 3 plus. It feels like what should be like the equivalent to like the Voodoo Doll showdown with LeChuck in 2 or the roller coaster in 3. It's nothing. It's not like any cool puzzles. It's not like a cool set piece. I guess it was trying to be like a giant robot monkey versus a statue LeChuck, which is also lame. I don't think is very cool. It just ended it on a bad note for me.
Yeah, I was more neutral to the stuff in the ending than I think you were, just because um,
Yeah, I mean,
the
I
other
don't
Monkey
think
Island
it's
games do pull stuff like this every now and again. Especially Curse did immediately previous to this. And Return
right.
is completely wild in the end. That I don't even really understand the ending of Return, if we can be completely honest.
But it feels
Um,
like bigger swings. It feels like bigger swings than Escape is doing. Escape feels very just
yeah,
plain, I guess. It that's more what I mean by flaccid, rather than like having issues with what exactly is happening. It just doesn't feel like a big deal.
yeah. I guess when you make the decision to try to break the fantasy of the world that you're in, that is a decision that comes at a cost. And with Monkey Island 2's ending and Return's weird theme park carnival stuff, I would say that it does come at a cost of breaking the pirate fantasy, because none of that stuff is real. And the storytelling they're doing with it is worth it.
Yeah.
Where when you have a mech in Escape, I think I'm maybe giving it a little benefit in my mind by recontextualizing it with the stuff that we learned in Return, and like why there's anachronistic stuff in the Monkey Island series. But if I didn't
Hmm.
have that, I should probably dislike it more. I think you're right. I
Well,
think it doesn't make sense to be there. It really, they never really talk about why there's a mech on Monkey Island
yeah.
at all.
Uh-huh. It just feels like something they pulled out of their asses for this. But like even that is like I would be fine with it if you got like a really cool like final act of the game with it, like the other Monkey Island games do. But you don't. It just feels like a boring finale for this game. It just doesn't feel interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like Tales from Monkey Island, you have the whole showdown with Guybrush just really getting the absolute shit beat out of him by LeChuck. It's like a huge moment. It's awesome. I love the ending of Tales so much. And this one's just, well, a robot's gonna fight a statue of LeChuck that doesn't look that cool. And then the way you win is you just draw with him 3 times. You just like do the same move he did, and that makes the LeChuck statue lower to the ground, and Elaine leaves the statue.
Yeah, and like there's not, unless I missed it, there's not a great tell that what you should be is drawing instead of winning. I
No.
don't like you just win
Well,
a
you
bunch of
just
times and then you just try to not
yeah,
win, and then yeah,
exactly. You're not like up until then the point was to try to beat the opponent. And here it's the only reason I did it was because I looked it up because I needed to finish in time to record today. You just draw with LeChuck 3 times, and there's
yeah.
no indication of why you're supposed to do that.
It's the same thing we were talking about with the skin trampoline, where like you
Yeah,
have you have a problem you know you want to solve, but the actions to solve it aren't anything that would make sense to think as a solution. There's
yeah,
no hint in the game toward like, oh, well, when people draw, they lower their hands. Like, well, no, that's never happened before this. This is entirely new to
yeah,
LeChuck. So I don't understand why I would think to do that. And
yeah,
especially because you need to do it 3 times, and the first 2 times don't really look like you're getting closer to something big happening. It just looks like you're being silly.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I would I would still dislike it, but I think I would feel a little more satisfied if it at least felt like a big event. Like, okay, this is what this game has been building up to, and this is the big climax. Here, it's just you go back to Melee Island, and now you're fighting a LeChuck statue with a monkey robot. No
Yeah,
pomp and circumstance to it.
you know, in a lot of areas in the video games industry, when games went from 2D to 3D, there was actually not the expectation that people would treat new entries in a series that are in 3D for the first time as like the fourth, like in this case, the fourth Monkey Island game. They would think, oh, we're getting the 3D gamer demographic and we're losing the 2D gamer demographic. So
It's
maybe
like the
this is
first
to
one.
them the first Monkey Island game. We should be
Yeah.
thinking about this as probably something closer to what Return actually was, where it's like a big return to the series after a long period of time.
Yeah.
Even though it had only been 3 years, 5 years between Curse and Escape, it had not been that much time. The jump to 3D, and I think that's like why we're seeing LeChuck do his old faces all the time, and it's why everything is so uncomplicated in the amount of settings you're going to and the amount of lore they're spitting at you. It's supposed to be okay and hopefully good for older Monkey Island players, but like there's an idea that seems to be in the game's DNA that like this is going to be the first of a new kind of Monkey Island game.
Right.
And I think in that regard it does not do well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Too bad.
You know what? We were talking about how the humor doesn't land as much as other games.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have like one funny line written down that like made me laugh, and it's not
Sure.
even like that good, but it made me laugh. It's
And
when you're at when you're at the walking stick store on Lucre Island, and Guybrush is talking to the guy working there. And he says, thinking of buying a walking stick of your own, are you? Might make you look distinguished, like a monkey in a hat. And Guybrush says, yeah, those are funny.
yeah, I liked that line. That was good.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not like this game is like trying to make jokes and just like completely falling on its face, like just so like cringing from how unfunny it is. It's just that the jokes that are in there just aren't hitting as hard as they do in other games. But there's still like lines where I'm like, yeah, you know, kind of funny, all right, I guess.
There was a so right before the credits roll, Guybrush falls off a cliff, and it's just a little funny thing. You fell off a cliff,
Pretty
and
silly.
then the credits roll while he's like screaming for help. And first he asks for help from all of his friends, the actual characters of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts asking for help from the names in the credits that are scrolling by. And then he asks for help from George Lucas. And then at the very end he goes, Jar Jar? And it hit me like a truck all of a sudden that this is a Lucas game 1 year after The Phantom Menace. Their priorities were elsewhere.
Oh yeah,
Very
There is-
clearly. Yeah.
there is another line. Guybrush, I forget what part he was even at, but someone had like a treasure or something, and Guybrush was guessing what it was, and one of the things you can choose is the script to episode 2.
Oh, okay. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think I clocked that it was Star Wars. But I
Yeah,
should have.
because it was yeah.
It's between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. All of the other LucasArts adventure games, including Monkey Islands 1 through 3, were in the era where the sequel or the original trilogy of Star Wars was completely over, but this company still exists and we're just trying new fun things. And
Right.
that's like Pixar was splitting off from ILM at that time and becoming its own company, although it wasn't part of the same company at the time. We were thinking more about like maybe Indiana Jones is something we want to prop up more than Star Wars right now. We're getting ready to do Star Wars again, but sure, yeah, if you want to try a Monkey Island video game, try that. And then now I think we're looking at a version of Monkey Island that is allowed to exist based on the fact that there are older Monkey Island games and people want more of them. But also, like, this is a company that has got to be firing on all cylinders, trying to make enough just usable material to work for the prequel trilogy. Those were incredibly expensive and difficult movies to make for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And just out of that, in the back offices somewhere at Lucas, they were making Escape from Monkey Island. It's harder for me to be that mad at it thinking about it
Right.
in a immediate post Phantom Menace world.
This is just suddenly not even a big deal for us at all.
Yeah. It was like LucasArts' main mascot-ish franchise for a while, and now it absolutely cannot be. It is not allowed to be. Star Wars needs to be the big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes sense why this was the last one LucasArts even did before Telltale took over with Tales.
I don't work on Star Wars video games anymore. I used to. And something that I was always afraid to say publicly because they would assume it meant that it was happening and someone would write a weird article about it. And I don't want that. But something I'd love to see is someone make a LucasArts adventure game of the Phantom Menace someday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would work. I think it would work well in that format in particular.
I was gonna say they never did any Star Wars games in that style, did they? Like point-and-click adventure games?
No, not in that style. They did 2 Indiana Jones games in that style.
Yeah.
One of them was just a take on the movie The Last Crusade, and then the other was sort of standing in for a 4th Indiana Jones movie, which at that point did not exist.
Fate of Atlantis?
Fate of Atlantis, yeah.
I heard those were good. I kind of thought about maybe playing those someday.
Fate of Atlantis is, I think, held up as being like among the classic LucasArts games, like Monkey Island and The Dig and Full Throttle and all of them.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me interested, because I don't really care that much about Indiana Jones, but it constantly gets brought up as like one of those highlights.
I like Loom. Loom
is
my
know
favorite
you like
LucasArts
Loom.
game. Yeah. Loom is really good.
I want to play Loom at some point.
Maybe if we bring the podcast back in 4 years, we can talk about Loom.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, with that in mind, do you want to let the podcast sleep for another 4 years? Should we have segments?
What about segments? Let's do segments.
Sure,
I don't really have anything in particular else to say about this game, but I do have segments.
Yeah, I think I've exhausted my thoughts on Escape from Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Weekly Guy.
Who is your weekly guy, Mitchell?
Well, we gotta give it to... hang on. I am tempted to say Mr. Cheese just because I like that name and I liked the character enough, but I'm trying to think if there's someone who I really like more than that.
Well, while you're thinking, can I say who my weekly guy is?
Is it Mr. Cheese?
My weekly guy is Mr. Cheese.
Okay. Mine is
really
too.
is.
I won't try to do better if you're going to do that.
I mean, this game just doesn't do a great job of bringing in like new characters. It like even the old characters I think aren't great in this game. Like I think Guybrush is more of a weenie than usual. I don't really like what they do with Elaine here. LeChuck is a fucking joke in this game. Like, he's barely in it at all, and I don't like him flipping between his old personas for no reason. I get Ozymandiar's fine, but not, like, an amazing new character. Mr. Cheese I like.
Yeah. Okay, so by the way, I looked up Sean Clark and Michael Stemmel. I looked up their credits to see what other LucasArts games they worked on. They both were... on the original Secret of Monkey Island.
Okay.
As not in a directorial position, but they were on it. And then they did a bunch of other stuff, and Escape is both of them coming back to Monkey Island for the first time since.
Okay, so they were not involved with Curse at all.
They were not involved with 2, they were not involved with Curse.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, if the Wikipedia list of their credits is correct.
Well, I'm glad Tails was better after.
Yeah. Golden moment, I think, is that time in the swamp with the time paradox.
Yeah, same. That's just the best puzzle in the game, like easily. It's the one that's funny. It feels like it's you get what you're supposed to do, but it's not like super easy because you do have to remember like exactly how the sequence goes, and if you screw it up, it's different each time.
Yeah, the gameplay is good. The funny is good. The setting,
The funny is good.
Just the premise of it is interesting, even if it wasn't funny. Yeah, it's the best moment in the game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like this game isn't all bad. There's some good stuff in there.
Choice cut we can't do. Linguistic gymnastics, I don't think we have it in us to do.
Yeah,
we could talk about potent pickups.
I do have a potent pickup. Do you have a potent pickup?
Well, let's hear yours, and then I'll answer that question after.
Mine is the duck.
Okay, talk about the duck.
I just thought it was funny. You know, it's not great. So,
well, for our listeners,
there's a part in Lucre Town.
What is the duck?
Yeah, so there's a part in Lucre Town where you are framed for robbing the Lucre Town bank by someone named Pegnose Pete, but you have to prove it was him. And one of the ways you do that is you find out from talking to people that Pegnose Pete, he had his nose bitten off by a duck. And Guybrush is kind of like, are you serious? Is that really how it happened? And people are just like, well, you know, it might just be a story. It might not be true. But then it turns out it 100% is true because you find a duck just kind of walking around in Lucre Island. And you can use the duck to scare the absolute shit out of Pegnose Pete. You grease up the dock of where his home is, and you put the duck through his window, and it just quacks at him. He's like, oh my god, a duck. And then he comes running out of his house, slips on the grease, and into a lobster trap on his dock. So, yeah, I just thought that was kind of fun. I liked just carrying around a live duck. And if you use it on anything, it'll just quack. And, you know, it's not like an amazing item, but it is the one where it's like, oh, that's kind of fun. That's kind of funny. It's not like there's a whole lot of great pickups in this game.
Yeah, I think my potent pickup would have to be the skeleton key and the rope and the gun that you get during the paradox area.
Right. Makes sense.
Those are my favorite use of an item in the game. Although, about the inventory itself, there's a really fun joke I actually did like, where if you open up the inventory screen near Elaine, especially when you're in the mansion, the governor's mansion, if you open up the inventory screen, she'll say, Guybrush, I told you not to spread out your inventory on the ground anymore. And I thought that was an interesting contextualization of what he must be doing when he looks at all his items. He just spreads them out on the ground and kind of looks at them.
That is funny.
Yeah, I like.
I don't think I got that. I don't think I. Oh wait, no, I think I did get it, but I just didn't really think about it. That is funny to visualize him just kind of taking it all out, laying them on the ground, and just think, what works?
Yeah, I have memories of doing that with like my toys in my room as a kid, of just like having them all in a line at the ground and thinking like, okay, well, what can I do with these? And to imagine that Guybrush is just always doing it is
okay. Here are the pretzels.
Very silly. If I were to go with my unpotent unpickup, the one I liked the least, it would definitely be the perfume bottle that you get a piece of information about Pegnose Pete, which is that he smells bad, like rotting sewage. And at the prosthetic store, the guy who's running the counter is blind, but he can smell everyone and he can tell who people are by their smell. So you kind of get the idea, this is broadcast to you enough that you get the idea that you're supposed to make yourself smell like Pegnose Pete. But what does Pegnose Pete smell like? You just put everything in the bottle that you can find. And like if there's something in the game that tells you here's all the things that Pegnose Pete smelled like, then I missed it. because the answer to that puzzle is just keep putting stuff in there, and eventually it'll be gross enough. And like a flower, sure. Swamp water, sure.
So I think I'm gonna feel like shit saying this because I can only say I think there was something that kind of hinted at it, because I remember having to look it up, but then after I looked it up, kind of saying to myself, okay, well, if I knew that, then I probably could have pieced this together, but I didn't. But now I can't even tell you what it was. I can't tell you what it was. I just remember thinking that when I read what the solution was, and now
because
I can't
there's like
remember.
5 ingredients.
Yeah,
that
the
you
flour. Need to do. Was one of them like the wood shavings or something?
There's wood shavings. There's
swamp
bait
water
from the bait shop. There's swamp water. There's water from the fountain. And I think maybe one or two other things, but
it was still something I had to look up because it just was not intuitive.
Yeah, I did not find the part of the game, if there was a part of the game that tells you, oh, I know what Pegnose Pete smelled like. He smelled like wood and old dead fish and swampy badness and a flower.
And that's all you need. If they like tell me that, then it's like, okay, then that's what I have to look for. I know that I need to make a perfume that has all of those things in it. That's literally all you need to do to make it a puzzle that works.
Yeah,
and they didn't
people
do
like
it.
People like to shit on Monkey Island 2 a lot for having crazy puzzles. And I'm not going to say they're wrong. You know, your experience is valid if you're playing through Monkey Island 2.
I get
and you don't have any way of actually working through these puzzles in your head. But
like, what is a monkey wrench?
Right. If that doesn't occur to you, you're totally right for that. You're valid. But I would at least go as far to say that in a situation like that, Monkey Island 2 does have a list of things he smells like that you can check against.
Yeah.
Like that's what Monkey Island 2 would do differently than Escape from Monkey Island.
Yeah, that's all you need is just something to put you on the right track.
Yeah.
You know what my unpotent pickup is?
Sure. What's yours?
The body parts.
Oh, yeah, okay, of course.
that you don't need for anything. In any other game, if you get something in your inventory, then that is telling you this is used for something. This is something for a puzzle. But here, it's just giving you completely useless items that you don't need for anything that you hold onto for the whole rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's stinky.
It's bad. There's another pickup I kind of liked where they were wooden earrings where if you put them on the figurehead of your boat, she turns into Bobby Hill and she talks to you.
Yeah, this game has like more than any other Monkey Island game, like the most big name cartoon voice actors. Like they have a lot of them in here. Not that the other Monkey Island games don't have them, like you'll get Rob Paulson in like the remakes and stuff, but it felt like this game was like Tom Kenny's in there, Pamela Adlin's in there, Maria Bamford's in there, Jess Harnell.
Like, this is an early Maria Bamford too. This is
this is before she got really big.
Yeah. You can tell in a lot of parts of this game, especially just the budget that it must have gotten over maybe another adventure game from LucasArts at the time, that there were a lot of people who love this series and they were allowed to work on it for the first time. And they were, they had full voice acting, I think for the first time, or no, Curse had
Curse had full voice acting.
Was there something with Curse where like it didn't in one version of it or something?
Oh, maybe. I know they did that with like Day of the Tentacle and Sam and Max. But I
Sam
think
and Max for sure.
I think by Curse they might have just been full voice acting.
Okay, so this wasn't the first voice acting Monkey Island game, but
no, it was the first voice act. Oh no, Curse was.
This. Yeah,
okay, Escape. I thought you were still talking about Curse. Okay.
No, yeah, but it's the first 3D one, and I think at that time in the video games industry, there was definitely a perception of, oh, you're a big enough franchise to be able to jump from 2D to 3D. Well, when we get there, there's going to be a big reception among all the longtime fans, and this is going to be like the big coming out for this franchise. And it turned out that maybe it's the least big entry in the franchise.
Yeah.
But I could imagine that they thought this was going to be big, and when it doesn't quite get there, it is a little disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I really have to say about Escape. Not the worst game I ever played, but it is definitely the worst in terms of Monkey Island.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad about it being our last episode of the show now. Because it's a bit of a deflated note to go out on. In my head, it was like, oh, we're finally finishing Monkey Island. It's going to be a big thing. And then we're like, oh, yeah, it's fine.
You know, I was talking to my roommate, Adam, and he said, oh, maybe you should have done Escape from Monkey Island before Star Trek. And I just said, no. I would have been in a much worse mood if we ended on Star Trek.
Well, maybe for the perspective of the podcast, that's what Adam wanted.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't want the last episode of the show to be me telling you about CSI Deadly Intent, the hidden files or the hidden cases. Yeah.
Boy, that would have been. Could you imagine if? Oh yeah, they really went out on a high note with that CSI DS game episode.
Yeah, where one of the guys didn't even play it. That real high note.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it kind of sucks to end on just kind of a middling game, but I am glad I played it. Like, I've wanted to play this for a long time, and even if I didn't love this, I am glad to say I have played every Monkey Island game now. I'm just all caught up with the whole series.
Yeah, I have a backlog on my phone, in my notes app on my phone. And Escape is potentially the oldest game on my backlog I haven't done yet, I think.
And now you get to cross
there's
it
some
off.
Super Nintendo RPGs. But I get to cross it off?
Oh, yeah.
I get to cross it off?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
just nice to say, like, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said pivot, but then you had something nice to say, and I wanted to hear that more than my thing.
Oh, no, I just think it's nice to be able to say, like, as a Monkey Island fan, I've experienced everything about Monkey Island. I've played every game in the series.
Yeah, that is nice.
Now we can pivot, though.
Sure, if you want.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Well, here's a pivot for you.
Here's a pivot for you.
We're talking about the future of the Telltale brand of game now. Mm-hmm. What does it look like going forward, do you think?
I don't know.
All dispatch? Just like, is dispatch so powerful that this thing is coming back in a big way, or is it maybe just a one-off still?
It's hard to say. I could see there being more dispatch in the future. I could see a dispatch season 2. I think that's maybe the only thing I'm like pretty positive will happen. Unfortunately, I think Wolf Among Us 2, not so much.
Yeah, the Wolf Among Us 2, if they want to bring it back, we've said many times on this podcast, and I hold it to be true. If that game decides to exist, we are absolutely bringing the podcast back again.
For sure. I would love to come back for that.
Anything else? More iffy.
So, this is not anything that is guaranteed, but if Skunkape comes out with a new Sam & Max, Sam & Max Season 4, we have to do that. I think that's at least another, like, that's not guaranteed at all, but that's a hypothetical for the list that I would gladly come back for.
I really hope that the relative radio silence from that studio is because they're, heads down working on something and not because it's falling apart. I would love it. I have heard nothing about that studio. I just get reflexively a little nervous if I don't hear anything from game studios these days that are of a certain size.
And I think I brought it up in a past episode how recently they made a post saying like we need to delay our yearly art contest for Sam & Max from Skunkape until 2026, but it's for a good reason that we need to be quiet for right now. Okay. And that doesn't guarantee a new game, but I think that is something that could potentially lead into it.
Yeah,
Like it could be
sounds new
anything. It could
game-ish.
be yeah, it could be anything. It could be like, oh, we're finally doing a physical copy of season 3. It could
I don't
be
think that would
something
affect the
else.
art contest, but I like the idea of that.
Well, just if they want to pair it up, like, okay, we're announcing we are finally doing a physical version of season 3, and now this art contest, the winner gets a physical copy. They win a copy of that. I could see
Oh,
that.
sure. Okay. Yeah. Or
But
maybe like their art is somehow incorporated into the physical
yeah,
copy.
like it could be a smaller thing like that, but that could be leading into like we are delaying this art contest, but it is to also partner with we are announcing a brand new Sam and Max game.
Yeah, I've complained about it many times on the show at this point, but the fact that the first 2 seasons have physical editions and they put out a 3 switch case wide container for all of the future physical editions, and then they just won't they just won't release
just
that
have
last
yeah,
physical edition.
they just haven't
The
said anything about it. Not that it's Skunkape's fault, I assume. A lot of
could
stuff going
be
on
or
with
not.
limited run.
I really have no idea.
Yeah. There could be multiple factors why we haven't seen it yet, but it sucks because that is the one. Like I still probably wouldn't get it just because expensive, but it would be the Sam and Max season I would most want a physical version of. That's the best one. I love.
I would definitely
season 3.
get it because I'm looking at this. Yeah,
You have the
filled case that I just threw
Yeah.
Bug Fables in there like 3 years ago, just to
I guess that'll
beef it
keep
out.
the spot warm.
Yeah, well, you don't want the cardboard to get all like slanted. So-
Right. No,
so
I
Bug
know.
Fables is doing a load bearing job here.
Right. You want to give Bug Fables a little rest so Devil's Playhouse can take its rightful spot.
Yeah, I actually had the thought a couple months ago of like, I never finished Bug Fables, so I should get that back out again. But then I look at it and like, oh no, it's doing a job right now.
I can't right now. I'm doing this.
In order for me to finish Bug Fables, Limited Run needs to make a physical edition of the 3rd season remake of the Telltale Sam and Max game. That's what needs to
Those are
happen
some-
for me to finish Bug Fables.
Those are some high stakes. They better get on it.
Yeah, I know they want me to finish Bug Fables.
We want nothing more than for Mitchell to experience Bug Fables. Get this out. Get this out. You know what, Mitchell? I think it would suck if Wolf Among Us 2 never happens. I would love for it to happen. But I think it would also be kind of a nice little bookend if we start with Sam and Max Season 1, and then we get a new Sam and Max as Season 4, and that is what ends the podcast.
Whoa, that's interesting. So like we've made a promise to start the podcast again with Wolf Among Us 2, but now what if we make a podcast to permanently end the podcast forever with Sam and Max Season 4?
Like,
Stakes
that'll
are really
be
high.
That'll be what like officially closes the door.
Yeah, like if they make a Season 5 after that, we can't cover it.
Well, here's a question though. What if we get Sam and Max Season 4 before we get Wolf Among Us 2?
Ooh, conflicting promises.
Yeah, we're gonna make someone pissed off. You
No,
said you were gonna end
we
this
do
show.
have to come back for Wolf Among Us 2 no matter what. But maybe we can't do anything else.
Just those two? Those are the two?
Okay, I'm thinking if the order of events is Sam and Max Season 4 comes out, we cover that, and I assume it's 5 episodes, so we cover all 5 episodes of that. And then we can't make any more episodes of the podcast ever again. And the only exception is if Wolf Among Us 2 comes out, we can cover that. But we can't do what we did with this Dispatch revival and then like have 4 extra episodes about some other stuff. We just have to it has to be over.
I think the plan should be because we don't even know if we're gonna get a Sam and Max Season 4. It
Or
feels
Wolf
like
Among Us
something
2.
that
Both of these things
Yeah.
seem unlikely. It's
yeah,
not a big
that's
deal.
true. But I will say this will be our last episode unless we get those at least one of those 2 games. But if we get both of those games, we have to cover both of those games. Like if we get only one of them, we have to do it. If we get both of them, we have to do it.
Why are those different? I don't understand why that's a different clause if we get one of them or if we get both of them. That still means that.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, we have to cover both if we get both. But then, like, if we only get one or the other, then we will just cover that one thing. But those are the only two things that the podcast will come back for.
So you're saying those are the only two things the podcast can come back for, even though I think our listeners would maybe be the most interested in a third thing we haven't talked about, which is Dispatch 2. And that actually seems more likely than either of those two things we said. But our show maybe isn't for our listeners. Maybe it's an exercise in a selfish thing. Maybe it's just for us.
Well, okay, here's a hypothetical. I don't think this will happen, but maybe it does. Or actually, maybe it is very likely. What if they confirm all three are coming? Dispatch Season 2, Sam & Max Season 4, and Wolf Among Us 2. And then we end up getting Dispatch Season 2 first before the other two. Do we still do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I love Dispatch, so I'm down to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the other two, Sam & Max and Wolf Among Us, that seems so unlikely at this point just because how could we possibly get that after so much time?
Yeah.
But I would love it.
Yeah, same. I'm not holding my breath for either one of them, but I would be more than happy to play them.
Yeah, I mean, we started this podcast when I was, firmly in my 20s, and now I'm 31. And if I'm 40 by the time we come back, that's still a podcast, baby. That's still us. We're still just going.
Yeah. I will not remember how to do it.
I feel like, real talk here, my performance on these last 8 episodes, this revival arc of the show, I don't think I've been bringing it.
Oh, really?
I don't think I remembered how to do
fine.
it at all. I think I've been I think I've been slurring my ideas because I'm just sort of tired, and
right.
Maybe if we bring back the podcast, I'll be fully asleep by then.
You're going to be an old man in a chair.
I'm going to be like, remember when they made a Borderlands game? And like,
I can't shoot, Max.
The CSI game doesn't let you change the camera.
Oh, man, if you're going to be old Sam, can I be old Max where I have just like the sci-fi visor?
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that's fun. So get excited for that when we come back, audience. And until then, we won't see you next week. It's been great coming back to the podcast. I've loved having just a little extra bite of something with the show. It's felt like some closure.
Yeah, just some little bonus episodes for funsies.
Yeah, and if we see you next time, we'll see you next time. If not, thank you for listening all these years. Thank you for keeping up with even some of the weirder episodes like this one, or especially last
CSI.
one. Yeah.
CSI DS. I thought that was fun. I think you kind of made me sort of want to give it a try. I probably won't, but...
You could.
Yeah, I could.
You could turn it on and like get in the mood of like, maybe I'll play this, and then do it for like 5 minutes and then be like, not worth. But that could be how you do it.
I'm gonna message you and say, Mitchell, we have to do another episode because I played it now.
And you're just going to tell me what I told you before?
Yeah, it'll be the same. Then you'll go, yep, uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. Why are we recording?
Cool.
Okay. Well, until next time, everyone, have a great summer.
Have a great summer.